The king in the north! The king in the north!
Yo, as always, like, share, subscribe. Now let's just get into it. So y'all asked me, well, I asked y'all to drop questions down in the community chat, and y'all did. Some of these questions I'm gonna make separate videos for them because I think that's what they deserve. So I'm just gonna read through the ones that I want to go through now. CJ7296, appreciate the comment. He says the culture of Michigan and why that could be a big reason for their success this season. That's a good question. The culture at Michigan is since after 2020 was, a brotherhood and putting in the work, and not only the players, not only the coach is holding everyone accountable, but the players holding each other accountable. That's when you got that's when you really got the dividends, and you could see the difference. Not Connor Stallions or something. No, you could see the difference in the way the team played, the physicality, the togetherness, trying to really accomplish goals. Shout out to the leaders that started that trend in 2020. The Brad Hawkins, the Aiden Hutchinsons, the Josh Ross, the Dax Hill, all these dudes, Hassan Haskins, even Cade McNamara, he was in there too. So I gotta mention him, even though he transferred. But the culture at Michigan is about being together, a brotherhood, and trying to accomplish goals. And I know somebody's gonna say, well, that's every team. Yeah, it is, but at different programs, it's different, so that's part of the culture, the brotherhood, the togetherness. We're as one. We can't, because you can't accomplish your goals without being together as a team, and that's in the weight room, in the locker room, on the field, in the practice facility, grinding to help each other. Even my backup, I want my backup to be successful. I want my backup's backup to be successful. That all goes into your culture. Yeah, you don't want anybody to take your job, but we're all on the same team. We're trying to accomplish the same goal, win a championship, run it back. And going back to 2021, trying to beat Michigan State, trying to beat Penn State, trying to beat Ohio State, and winning the Big Ten and trying to win a championship. Those are the goals. You know what I'm saying? So that's part of the culture. And then the other part of the culture is iron sharpens iron. So like I was watching a video of Sharon Moore at practice, the Michigan Made videos, and it's basically, if you don't want to work, don't come here. If you don't want to work and you don't want to grind, you don't want to be in this weight room, you don't want to be in this film room, go somewhere else, because we're trying to accomplish goals. The passion and what it takes. Everybody wants to be a championship, but people don't want to put in the work in the off season. The sacrifice it takes to miss going out to those parties, miss going out doing this, to study extra film, to do extra footwork, to hit that weight room for the second time today. All those things, So all that goes into the culture, the physicality. Also, the physicality. It's you can talk about it, but Michigan has proved it. Not just with talking about it. You got the Ohio State drill where guys are taking on it's a drill where you're basically, the offense has one less man, or the offense has one less man, I believe, than the defense, or vice versa. It's one of them. I can't remember exactly. But drills that are specially put in to be physical. Then you can go to the Georgia drill, same type of thing. We want to be the best, and that's the focus. We're in the Big Ten, so the focus is Ohio State, our biggest rival, and then the other drill, whoever's the champ or whoever's one of the top teams that we respect, name the drill because we about to get after it. Physicality. So all of that goes into the culture of Michigan. And I think that's going to help them be successful. Now, you got your question marks on the offensive line, which I think the offensive line will be good, whether they have growing pains or not. But the big question is the quarterback. This team will go as far as whoever's the quarterback takes him, because he's going to be needed in big moments because we have more big games this year. So this team's going to go as far as the quarterback. But they whether they're struggling or not, they're not going to lay down. This ain't going to be a team where they're going to quit. That's just not how the program is built. They're just not going to quit, you know. So, good question. Let's see. Ross Hickson says, are the Buckeyes going to take their dance routines to the next level this year and come out in heels? They might. They might. Let's see. Next question. At SDB 1218. Honestly, this hasn't been talked about enough, but the BSPN hatred towards Michigan football last year hasn't been addressed enough. From Thamel and his tweets to Reese Davis and his comments during the College Game Day broadcast saying those who stay will be suspects. Yeah, I mean, you know, ESPN, Ohio State fans, you know, they were hoping Michigan wasn't that. You know, with the Connor Stallion stuff, they were hoping Michigan wasn't that and wasn't going to win the championship. You know, they were hoping Bama was going to take them out. Oh, Michigan can't beat Bama. Oh, they don't have a chance against all those 5 stars. And from the first play, they got hit in the mouth, and it was like, oh. Then we just gave Washington a controlled butt whooping. So, you know, ESPN, ESPN is a SEC network, basically. You know, that's who they promote. That's who they, you know, have the contracts for really now. So they didn't want Michigan to be that. And I guess maybe you could say it tarnishes their, what the playoff is. I don't care. We came out there and whooped everybody's butt. Y'all can hate it or love it. I don't care. Champs. You can complain online all you want. ESPN, whoever else, picking against us, Pat McAfee. I don't care who it is. They can say whatever they want. But at the end of the day, we watched the games. Michigan dominated everybody, and champs. End of story. I don't want to hear none of that stuff. I get into an argument every other day against somebody. Well, your championship is Michigan's championship is tainted. Nobody respects it. Yep. Champs. Blah blah blah. Champs. Blah blah blah. Champs. You doing all that typing for nothing, because all I'm going to do is put champs in a crown. And you can't say nothing. Oh, you guys cheated, champs. Oh, Connor Stallions, champs. Oh, nobody respects you, champs. Champs don't want to hear what you got to say till you win. Talking to the champs like we supposed to care what y'all think. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all got beat. You want to talk about this and that, show up on that field and beat Michigan. That's how you shut us up. If not, champs. Champs. Simple as that. You know, I don't care what people say. Oh, you had to cheat to get the championship. Champs. I don't care. I do not care. I'm coming back with champs every time. So that's how I feel about it, bro. That's how I handle that stuff. But you know, that's ESPN wants the SEC. That's who they love. So it ain't no surprise that they was coming at us or coming at Michigan. Next comment says we need a deep dive on Oregon. That deserves its own video. Garrison said deep dive on Wink. I'm gonna make another video for that. Craig Towle says our biggest games and the weaknesses of our opponents. Yeah, that deserves another video too. Let's see. At HE Low Key, he says, with so many high profile games this season because of conference alignment, do you think teams will give backups more PT like we do to keep the starters fresh and keep injuries low as possible? Yeah, I think so. And I think that's partly in why, like Jim Knowles said, he's going to rotate more because he didn't rotate. And I've said this before, and that's not me just saying that, but you can actually go look at his comments. He said he doesn't rotate. Last year, he said he doesn't like to rotate the starters. The starters are a starter for a reason. These are his words, not mine. The starters are starters for a reason. So he don't like to rotate the secondary and the linebackers. He doesn't like to rotate them. That's what he said last year. This year, he's saying he wants to rotate more, you know? And if you have the depth and you have some cupcake games to get those backups and those guys that are going to be in the rotation, the reps, I don't see why you wouldn't want to, you know, especially with this. If you're planning on being in the playoff, which like a team like Ohio State, they probably almost guaranteed to be, it's the smart thing to do to keep those dudes fresh, you know, keep those starters. And on the football field, you want to keep your guys fresh. Like, fatigue is one of the biggest, you know, problems for one of your starters, you know, especially when it's a grinded out type of game or even if it's a shootout, you know, fatigue, it'll set in, you know, and that guy won't be jumping passes as fast as he could have. He won't be, you know, hitting the hole, getting to the hole on defense, you know, filling gaps as well as he was because you get tired. You know, similar to like that and I'm not saying this to just clown on Ohio State, like that 7-minute drive Michigan had on Ohio State. If you're not subbing out those linebackers and those secondary guys, they've been playing most of the game. They're gassed, you know, and they were gassed until they got that timeout and the TV timeout. Like they had those long breaks to, you know, recover, you know, but fourth quarter, when you play in those big time games, fourth quarter, those dudes are going to be gassed if you're not rotating them. It's a close game. You know, if it's a blowout, you know, they on the sideline by the fourth quarter. But if it's a close game, those dudes are gassed. So if you're rotating them, those guys, plus you have less chance for injuries and you can have a whole unit that's fresh. So you can just bring in guys and then you have the trust. You know what I'm saying? Because it was beautiful last year to see, you know, when Rod Moore was out and we were playing cupcakes early, they had some growing pains. Keon Sabb, Quentin Johnson, and the other safeties that were stepping in, they had some growing pains. But by the time we played Ohio State and by the time we played Bama and Washington, they were all on the same page and you could just switch those dudes out. One play you see Makari Page in, the next play you see Keon Sabb in. One play you see Rod Moore in, the next play Quentin Johnson's in. This is the first quarter. These dudes ain't tired yet. That's just how he was doing the rotation. And it worked out great because I got four safeties I trust. And I can just flip them in as I feel like it, you know. We're in nickel most of the time. I got 2 linebackers I trust. I got a third one that I really trust too. I can just sub those guys out. Same with the D-line. We were probably 12 deep almost on the D-line last year, at least 10. I got 10 guys I can bring in, and I trust all of them. It's a beautiful thing. So you definitely want to go to that, especially with this extended season with the playoff. You definitely want to do that. That's the smart thing to do. I think that's the smart thing to do anyway as far as football now. You know, get those guys on this because it's not the pros. The pros you can't afford to – you don't have cupcake games where you can afford to get guys more reps and get them up to speed, you know. But college you do, so you can have those games where when a guy's behind him, he's still learning, but in a by the time you do play somebody, if you've got the if your schedule is easy enough, you know. Michigan doesn't really have that luxury this year with Texas the second game, but you know, we got other cupcakes that they'll do even more heavy rotation to get looks at guys. Let's see. Terrence says, how about UGA having 22 players in trouble with the law after 2 people died? Most for speeding and racing. Why isn't the national news? The narrative is it's not a culture problem or a lack of leadership, just to point out how we do things. I mean, it is a culture problem and a lack of leadership, because if you were holding those dudes, and this is the thing about this stuff, with these kids at college, because you know some of these dudes are knuckleheads and they're playing to try to help their family out, and you could say these are excuses you're making for these dudes, because if you drunk driving and speeding, like that's some reckless stuff. You could kill somebody and kill yourself. So it's on Kirby Smart to hold them accountable. And some of these dudes probably should be kicked off the team, honestly. If you drunk driving, like the dude at Oklahoma State, he probably should have been kicked off the team for what he did, but he's their whole offense. You know what I'm saying? Ollie Gordon, he's their whole offense. But like at Georgia, they got so many dudes, like it's got to be heavy. It's got to be a heavier toll on it. What seems like what Kirby Smart is doing is he's trying to make themselves into like an NFL program where he just fines them because they're making money now, so he fines them. Well, that don't really teach them a lesson. You know what I'm saying? You have to teach these dudes lessons. Like, yeah, you don't want to kick the kid off the team. I get it. You want to give these guys second chances to, you know, maybe change their family, because some of these kids, I hate to say it like that, but football is in them. This opportunity is all they've got. So you don't want to just, all right, I'm done with you. You're a knucklehead on the first time he does something and you're off the team. Like, that wouldn't be right, because these parents entrusted you to, you know, lead and turn these kids into grown men. That's what they trusted you to do. So you have to, Kirby Smart and any of these coaches, you have to find that line between, all right, this guy's a knucklehead, and all right, I'm gonna give this guy a second chance because, you know, he deserves it or he needs it. But that's 22 players. That's like a lack of institutional control, honestly. You know, I don't think finding them is the right thing to do. I think you have to sit them dudes down. Maybe kick some of them off the team, honestly. Drunk driving is serious, to me at least. And speeding. Now, speeding's one thing, but speeding is serious too. If you going like 100 in certain places and 80, 90 in certain places, that's reckless too. You know, both of them are reckless, but drunk driving and speeding, that's hella reckless. Like, that's just like, all right, I'm on top of the world. I got plenty of money. I don't care. That's that entitlement. I can do whatever I want type of stuff. So he definitely needs to get stricter. And to me, fines ain't just gonna cut it. You got to teach these dudes some lessons. You know what I'm saying? Because it's getting out of hand. The national media is not gonna talk about it because that's the SEC. That's the SEC. You know, ESPN. So, you know, most of our sports news comes from ESPN, FS1. Ain't none of them really talking about it. They just, it's almost like kids being kids, you know, but it is pretty serious, honestly. Let's see. HE Low Key, appreciate the comment. He says, potential players who step up and show out this year that didn't play last year. That's a good one, bro. Didn't play last year. Zeke Berry. Zeke Berry played a little bit. Like, Zeke Berry's going to show out this year. The same way Keon Sabb showed out last year, I think this is Zeke Berry's year. Honestly, I thought Zeke Berry was going to be the one to show out last year, and it turned out to be Keon Sabb, because they both play safety. That safety / nickel, You know, I thought it would be Zeke. It turned out to be on Keon Sabb. It worked out. Now it's your turn, Zeke. You know, so Zeke on defense, and who else? Cole Sullivan. He's a freshman. I think he's gonna light some dudes up. You know what I'm saying? Because he's got that see ball, get ball about him. When he's one of those dudes, when he's coming, pause. You know, when he sees it, he's going, you know, and he gonna light up whoever in front of him. He's one of those dudes. So to me, you just throw him in when you're just trying to blitz. You throw him in and you let him be a heat-seeking missile when you're trying to blitz. And I'm just ready to see what he becomes when he actually learns the scheme fully, so he can just be out there in the middle with a head on a swivel, head on a swivel, turning into a missile. But this year, I think they're going to be able to use him on blitzing, on some good blitz schemes and good blitz packages. I see him lighting it up on defense like that. Who else? Offense, probably the backup tight end Klein, because you know we use a lot of two tight end sets. I think he's gonna ball out. And Omarion Walker. I think Omarion Walker's gonna show up this year. You know, left as a corner, came back as a wide receiver. So I think he's gonna show out. I think he's gonna show out because he's got everything to show out. He's got it all. He's got the speed, he's got the size, he's got the quickness. I think he's gonna show out when he gets his chance. Hopefully, that's not a for sure one, Omarion, but I think he's gonna have the opportunity at least. You know, because practice is one thing, but when you get in the game, sometimes the dude that practices well, it doesn't carry over. So with the passing game, like the run game, you pretty much know Donovan Edwards, Khalil Mullins, and then we're gonna have to see, is it gonna be Ben Hall, is it gonna be Jordan Marshall, is it gonna be Cole Cabana, or Tavier Dunlap? You're gonna have to find out that third back. With the receiver room, I think you got Tyler Morris, and then everybody else is going to have to see, okay, you look good in practice, but is it carrying over to the game? So I think there's going to be a big opportunity for that second and third receiver. Because, you know, Loveland's probably going to be the number one target. Then Tyler Morris is the number one receiver. And then who's going to be that other guy? Is it going to be Samaj? Is it going to be Fred Moore? Is it going to be Omarion Walker? Is it going to be the dude from Charleston? So to me, that somebody's going to have to step up. Who's going to be that second and third go-to guy? You know. So I'm leaning towards Omarion because he's got all the talent in the world. Let's hope it's him, because if it's him, he gonna be doing something nasty because he's got too much speed and athleticism. All right, appreciate the comment, Tim. He says, Johnny, if you could have Will Howard right now, knowing what you know about going into the season, would you take him to replace our QB right now, whoever that might be? That's a good one. I'm torn. I'm honestly torn with this question because all of our quarterbacks are kind of unknown, but Alex Orji, the what if factor of Alex Orji makes me want to take that chance, because if he's nice, we're going to be right where we want to be. You know what I'm saying? We're going to be right where we want to be. You know, now let's say if Orji wasn't in the equation, I'd probably take Will Howard. But even though I don't know how well Orji can pass, the what if he can be that, if he can give me 60% with what he does on the ground, I'm taking that. Because as good as mobile as Will Howard is, he can't give you, he's not that. He's not that. You know what I'm saying? And there's also the, how does Will Howard fit into our system? All the dudes on our roster, they've been around for like 3 years. They've been in this system for like 3 years. Will Howard would be coming in new, having to learn the system, and you're going to have to deal with the growing pains with that. You know what I'm saying? We're a run first team, but we got a lot of big games. In those big games, somebody's going to be able to slow that run down, and Will Howard is going to have to make some big time throws to win it. You know, so that's the thing. If it was, I'd take him over Davis Warren and Tuttle and Denegal. I'd take him over them. But Orgy's what if ceiling, it's higher than Will Howard's. So I'd take that. You know what I'm saying? I'd take Orgy over Will Howard, but I'd take Will Howard over the rest of them, honestly. From what I've seen, you know, and that's the thing. Will Howard also, he turns it over a little more than we like. You know, he turns it over more than we like. We don't, JJ had 4 picks last year, you know, and that's not to say that nobody will throw him this year that's on the roster, but, you know, I know that he'll throw interceptions, you know, so that's the thing. So I'm taking Orgy over Will Howard, but I'll take Will Howard over the rest of our guys. Let's see. Andrew Williams, appreciate the comment. He says, all the talking heads in college football like Josh Pate, your boy Zach Smith, and the OSU fan base saying this is not a natty or bust year, but got Hall of Fame coaches like Urban and Trussell saying this is the most talented team in school history. So if that is true, how is it not a natty or bust season for the most talented team in your school's history? That's what I said, and I made a video about that like a month ago saying you got these coaches saying this is the most talented team, OSU team in history. Like, I get it. They're saying it's not natty or bust because they want to win the natty every year, but every year you don't get a team like this. You have a team that's nice. Every year you have a really good team, but every year you don't get basically your whole defense to come back. You don't get your starting running back to come back when he could have went pro. You know what I'm saying? You don't get your number one receiver, your number 2 receiver to come back when he could have went pro, and this year he'll be the number 1. Like, you don't get all those guys to come back like that normally. So the veteran leadership, the star power with Caleb Downs and Quinshon Judkins, because yeah, you'll have a good team next year, but it ain't going to be loaded like this. You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of a natty or bust type of year. Like, this is you putting all your chips. You putting the chips all in. All them dudes came back. They didn't come back for to just win the Big Ten, to just beat Michigan. They came back to beat Michigan, win the Big Ten, win a championship. That's why they came back. The same way Blake and Blake and all them dudes. I can't even think of them. I'm having a brain fart. But yeah, the same way Blake came back, them dudes came back to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? Sainristil and, you know, all them dudes, the transfers, they came to Michigan to win a championship. And I'll say it, last year was natty or bust for us, because we had built up to the moment. 2021, make the playoff, lose first round. 2022, make the playoff, lose first round. 2023, we about to lose all these dudes. This is the year. A lot of them came back to win a championship, to beat Ohio State again, win a championship. We got unfinished business. And they did. So whether you like it or not, next year, you're going to lose a ton on defense. Well, at the end of this year, you're going to lose a ton on defense. And you're going to lose some pieces on offense also. You know what I'm saying? So, you'll have a good team, but they're going to be way younger and they're going to have way more growing pains. So that's the thing. So they can say what they want, but it's natty or bust. And they definitely need to beat Michigan. You know what I'm saying? A lot of them dudes came back to beat Michigan and to win a natty. It's just, they can say whatever they want. Josh Pay, they can make excuses. You know, they know what it is. Yeah, y'all gonna have a good team, but it ain't gonna be this good of a team. You know, when you get and this is the thing, because we all know when a team is loaded on paper. We all know it. When you can see it, like, man, they got all these dudes coming back. They got a few freshmen that came in. They got a few transfers that came in. Man, this team is loaded. 2023 Michigan. Man, this team is loaded. Man, we got to win a championship this year. There's nothing worse than having a team that you know is loaded, underachieve, and not maximize that goal. At least make it to a championship. You know what I'm saying? There's nothing worse than that. 2016 had a team loaded, full of NFL players. I think we had like 12, 13 dudes drafted or something like that year. Well, the year after that year. Tons of dudes. Peppers and Rashawn Gary and Taco Charlton and all these dudes. Team loaded. Jordan Lewis and, you know, team was loaded. But they let that one get away at Iowa, and then they lost to Ohio State. Season over. Season over. You know, if they beat Ohio State, they make the playoff. Now you got your chance to win a championship. Players don't sit out of the playoff. So people saying like Jabril sat out. He wasn't finna sit out if we made the playoff. I guarantee you that. You know what I'm saying? So there's nothing worse than a team that you know is loaded, that has the possibility to get there, and they underachieve. It hurts every time because you know what you had on that roster. You know who came back. So it's natty or bust, whether they like it or not. Because the team that comes back in 2025, it ain't gonna be loaded like this with not with all this veteran talent. So that's the thing. Let's see. Break down the schedule. That deserves another video. Break down those run plays versus Illinois. That's another one. And after the Michigan Wolverines beat Alabama, everyone seen this team was legit and didn't need any help to cheat. Yeah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But that's pretty much all I got for these ones. The rest of them I'm gonna try to make separate videos so they can just stand alone, because you know I can get long-winded. Like this was 30 minutes and it probably didn't have to be, but hey, I didn't go to school for this. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate y'all dropping the comments. We're going to be turning up. The season getting closer. We're going to start, I think camp opens is it now or next week or something? Camp will be opening up, so we're going to be getting more reports out of what's going on. We'll actually get more news about who's leading the way at quarterback. I mean, most of us think it's Orgy's job to lose, but he got to prove it in practice. They ain't going to just give him the job. He got to prove it in practice. You know what I'm saying? So we'll get more reports out of that, see what's going on with the receivers and all that, you know. So we're going to be turning up a little bit more and getting into it. But that's all I got for this one, y'all. Like, share, subscribe, and as always, go blue.
It's great to be a Michigan Wolverine. It's great.